Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Hold on, let's get our music going here. Well, it is Tuesday after the long holiday, and we are into summer trading now. So, you know what? Liquidity in the 10-year doesn't seem to be harmed really at all from any of that, so that's good. We are like rolled over. Hold on a second, I gotta fix this here. Yeah, but we are having fairly decent move off of the open here in the Treasuries. So let's just come back and look at the charts here. So here you got ZN out. Actually, some decent upside movement overnight, huh? Have the right rollovers? Yes, I do. Okay, so there was a buy overnight, and this move down is a retracement of that. That is curious. So there was some action from the Bank of Japan overnight. That's probably what that upside action was. You know, saying inflation is still a problem and that they're going to be continuing their bond buying operation. So that would be a buy for Treasuries. That's probably why you're getting that. Problem is, you know, the market is moving towards there's going to be another hike in June. So I have a dentist appointment. Oh, thank you for coming and telling us, Uzi, because I would want to be like, no, Uzi, this week, did he drop off after the holiday? I'd be so distressed. Okay. ES. Well, ES is doing okay. But really it's NQ, if I can. Well, I don't really have like a really good chart of NQ, but NQ has been like outperforming like insane. The whole Nvidia thing is just absolutely bonkers. It's, you know, I'm starting to wonder if we are developing like a real problem with the equity indexes here, right? Because before it was Tesla and Apple has always been there, and now it's NQ. It's just like when one stock can control the indexes so much, I just don't think it's a good thing for the market, you know? But there's, with the way the market is structured, there's really no way around it. So yeah, NQ is crazy. Oil having a little bit of a dip though. Silver and gold jumping back up here this morning. That's good for them. And where's my copper? Oh yeah, right here. Copper is up. Interesting. So maybe a slightly conflicting signals. Also getting got a good pop in Bitcoin, although it is fairly tame. For Bitcoin, I'd say that's fairly tame. A lot of people saying Bitcoin is reaching like technical indicators. That means it will go up and yada, yada, yada. And here you got the dollar. The dollar actually coming down this morning. So here's the problem that I see is that like right now, it's been tech companies that have been driving the rally. Meanwhile, the economy still looks pretty resilient and inflation still looks to be a problem. Like, look, the inflation thing is not just going to go away, guys. I'm sorry. But it's probably not going to go away because we kind of have like this generational problem that results in there being more demand than there ever will be ever in the United States over the next 10 years. And that's going to drive some inflation that they're going to have to deal with. After that, maybe it's different. But until then, until the boomers like really retire and stop spending, you know, this is going to be crazy. So, meanwhile, tech is just like Nvidia, the whole AI, let's call it the AI bubble. That's what people are calling it now, is the AI bubble, is just like really, dominating the market. And the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates in June. Looks like we're going to be getting some quantitative tightening over the summer, right? So it's kind of a hard one because, man, like I just can't see myself wanting to like go short the S&P 500 or go short the Nasdaq and Nvidia right now. But the flows that I see coming into the market in the future kind of suggest that we will get selling. And by the way, coming in here this morning and seeing as soon as the full market opens up, the traders selling the treasuries is not a positive sign for that whole setup, right? Bye, Roman. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Another thing I should add here is that a similar thing happened last time we had like a debt ceiling battle, where the market was pretty positive before it and everything, and then like after the deal got passed, everything kind of fell apart. So it is summer. We're like, I don't know, man. This is kind of interesting. What we're seeing in the ZN this morning is not your typical summer trading, is it? Okay, so next thing that we need to do is we need to come in here and look at the next month's micro yield futures. Need to look at June. There we go. Well, it looks like they are not moving over. Well, I guess it's the 30th, huh? My birthday tomorrow. There is some volume over here though. So I think we're still okay to trade over here. Like the liquidity is good enough to trade over here today, but should just be cognizant that we kind of, the switch over is there and all that. Yeah, this action in the treasuries does not look like summer trading to me. You never know. It can always, like, the volatility and volume rather can always just like drop off a cliff, but this is not what you typically see in the summer. And I don't know if any of the news that we're going to get this morning is going to be all too interesting, because everybody is just going to be talking about the debt ceiling and the debt ceiling deal, which I have to admit, Republicans did not get as much as I thought. Remember the other day when I was saying, well, Biden talked about, a 2-year freeze. And I was like, I thought that they had, Republicans had already ruled that one out. but it looks like that's what they took. So lots of, let's call it wailing and gnashing of teeth in the Republican Party against Kevin McCarthy, saying that McCarthy didn't do a good job. Well, I don't know about that one, because like, what was realistic for him to get? Like, really, the Democrats just won't allow any decrease in spending. Like, the whole thing is just kind of ridiculous. At this point, we all complain about the politicians and the debt ceiling and all of that, and there are definitely problems with the politics around this, right? But at this point, I believe that the real problem is us, or rather the American people, that we won't let Congress do what they would need to do to get the debt problem under control. Because the reality is we're talking about pennies compared to the amount of money that is spent on entitlements. So, and until, anytime that you mention any change to entitlements, like we might reform Medicare and Social Security, everybody gasps and like, because you're paying into that, and you think it's a benefit that you've earned, right? Well, it's not a sustainable benefit. They can't pay for it. They're going to have to adjust it. And if you don't do anything, then eventually you kind of come to a point where you find out, kind of like what is happening in France right now, and everybody will like fight against it, but like it happens because there's really no alternative, right? So unless the American public shifts and allows Congress to address the entitlements problem, probably nothing's going to get done. And so you'll continue to have this. You just, fighting over pennies every few years. Probably. Yeah, and this is a good little move back down to the lows. I'm still seeing a reasonable amount of aggressiveness on behalf of the market sellers out here in the 10-year. I don't know if I like the price for an entry per se, but I think they would have to be sellers in treasuries. I mean, that's the flow that I was expecting. I guess it's just much sooner than I anticipated, right? What's this? Woo, blockchain Tether is investing resources into energy production and the launch of sustainable Bitcoin mining operations in Uruguay in collaboration with the local license company. Uruguay has 94% of electricity generation from renewable sources, predominantly wind and solar energy. Bitfinex tweeting this with the comment, stablecoins are now backed by money-losing loans to Bitcoin miners. Crypto miners are profitable, which is why they need an ever-increasing amounts of debt to remain in business range. Yeah. It seems to me, though, that like Tether has gotten a pretty good handle on how the industry works and knows where to put their money. Because last time around, it was... it got so low that the miners were unprofitable and the miners started dumping stuff, and then things got really bad, right? Now, another thing is, now that we are in the summer, the people start paying attention to the presidential campaign much more seriously. I mean, like before, it's like, is it really primary season? Not really. Now you're in like the early stages of the primary season. So for instance, I just see a story here showing that Ron DeSantis is traveling in Iowa, right? So they are like really campaigning now. It really picks up after Labor Day. Okay, but for now, you're in the early stages of primary, and we'll start tracking that closely. I made another channel, Speculator Seth Politics. I'll be posting YouTube shorts about that. Stock twits tweets Nvidia approaches $1 trillion market cap. Jeez. Ted Cruz called AOC's account a parody account, even though it was like the official AOC account. Okay, well, I said I don't know about 373, and they're already being like, "Yep, Seth, we're going for it." Bloomberg, climate costs mount for poorer nations already burdened by debt. Something that you're going to see this year, because we're getting a really strong El Nino year, and that means that a lot of those southern countries experience strong heat waves. So you're probably going to hear a lot more headlines about that sort of thing in the next year. Wrong day. Yeah, I always screw that up. I wish that YouTube had some ways to like dynamically put the date in your title so that I didn't have to change it. I wish that YouTube, so here's the thing. Used to be that everybody streamed on Twitch. And then in 2019, 2020, YouTube was like, oh, well, we can stream and we kind of want to move in on that space. And what happened was when they started adding features and pushing the streaming side of things more, YouTube found that it was decreasing engagement across the site. And so they started pushing streaming less. And so basically what happened is YouTube kind of did a couple of features to make their streaming a little bit better, but they didn't really fully commit to it and just kind of left it by the wayside. And so anybody that was streaming, like all of a sudden they started getting less viewers, and it kind of like ruined one of the things that was kind of making YouTube worth streaming on, right? So I really feel that YouTube could do better with the streaming side of things, if they actually committed some resources to it. Now, I don't think that the resources they need to commit to it is pushing live streams out to people on the main page, but what they need to do is they need to add features and things to kind of help create more of a quote unquote streaming community, because that's how Twitch was able to build into what it was because it created a community of creators, right? One of the things that I think would help would be a way to have regular schedule, right? So YouTube could push out my stream when it's live out to people, right? It can push out to people when I have a live stream scheduled in the future. But what if I had they had shows where you could say I stream every day at this time, right? And YouTube could provide discovery for that instead. I would prefer that. Anyways, I guess it doesn't matter. It does what we need it to do when we don't need a huge community, right? So Octavius noting the twos are bouncing off 4.5. So it looks like we are getting a little bit of a pause here. I mean, there was a reasonable amount of volume that traded at 25, right? 8,000 within the amount of time that we spent there is pretty good. So maybe a brief liquidity hold before we move lower again. potentially. Who knows? It could reverse. I think that overall we'll see selling in the treasuries, but there are some counterflows, like for instance the Japanese yen. So this is not one where I think I can just sell it anywhere and be happy with it, right? There's probably going to be some nasty pullbacks. And I would not count out the possibility of it completely retracing and flipping back to the other side of the range. Let's see here. There we go. Fixed the date. Mohammed El Arian, this agreement is not going to make a material difference to the economic and financial outlook. What I was much more worried about was non-agreement. The best response to a debt issue is economic growth. Well, that's true, but I don't know if we're actually doing anything to really help economic growth. And I'm still a little concerned about economic growth. What the heck? So Brannigan Barrett is tweeting out this headline. He says, when I read reporting like this, it makes me think of the .com. Buy expensive stocks to safeguard against the recession. And so what is the headline? Big tech rally will only grow further as recession worries reign, investors say. Yeah, that makes zero sense. I tell you what, usually tech and chip makers in particular are usually hit first. So for people to be going into Nvidia to protect themselves against the recession is just like backwards from the way that things usually work. It does make me think that there is some froth out there. Nancy Mace, Washington is broken. Republicans got outsmarted by a president who can't find his pants. I'm voting no on the debt ceiling debacle because playing the DC game isn't worth selling out our kids and grandkids. Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of Republicans are going to say no. It's probably still going to get passed though. Futures Trader 71, this is episode 2472. I think that's more than me. Wait, how much is that in... Okay. 2,472. By like 250 trading days a year. Has he been doing it for 9 years? That might be right. Although I don't think it's been a live stream for that long. So YouTube didn't have live streaming that far back. Well, sure enough, it's flipping back up. You can get 373 again if you want. Jake Sherman tweets, Wesley Hunt, a freshman Republican from Texas and ally of Speaker McCarthy, will vote no. I am a no on this proposal to raise the debt ceiling. In anticipation of the 2022 midterm elections, the Republican Party came before the American public with an ambitious vision, blah, 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 blah. So one of the big things here is like, will they be able to actually pass it? So it's anticipated that if they can get it through the rules committee, that it will pass. So and they think that it's going to pass the rules committee. So what you're probably going to see is a lot of very conservative Republicans coming out and saying that they're going to vote no. Mostly because they can, right? They can come out and vote no, and it won't be a disaster. So kind of a funny one, I know, but when you see Republicans come out and saying they're going to vote against it, it's maybe not necessarily mean what you might think. Right back down there, huh? Whoa, that was a sell there in the 5-year. You count for 2 weeks and my Twitter private messages have about 40 spam messages ranging from... You know what I've discovered with the spam is that a lot of people that are... you used to think that it was like robots, right? But I think that a lot of it is actually like people that are being incentivized by other companies and so forth to go and do stuff, and they will have like lists of places and influencers and stuff that they think would be good to go and spam, and so these people, they will go out and do it even though it's not effective, right? Because they don't know that it's not effective. They just know to go down the list that the ringleader is set to go through. Hence why you continually get robots trying to join my Discord to pretend to be me, even though they almost immediately get banned by my scripts. So that there's been... Oh, those already 3 of them this overnight. Yeah. Are you in any trades or plan to make any trades? Well, I'm kind of tempted to go short the treasuries here, but I'm not in a position yet. You'll be able to tell when I'm in a position because this column over here will light up with red and blue numbers that show how much I'm making or losing. Yeah, I'm considering what I should make of that aggressive sell in the 5-year. You can see that the 2-year yield is responding to that. I think I should have taken the 7.3 one when it was there. Because that sell there was pretty... There was some real flow behind that. This would be a good setup to maybe as she goes, but I don't think that I could get away with that in the micros here. Let's see here, a little bit of clicky. Looks like there was a big bid placed at... Oh, it was 04 half? Well, they plowed right through that. Well, that right there is kind of what I was worried about, but we're gonna have to run with it. Today Elizabeth Holmes reports to Texas prison. Yay. Scott Adams, did we just dodge a recession? Why would you be talking about it? You don't know jack shit about that, Scott. Yeah, that 5-year is looking like the bids and stuff are starting to look a little disorganized, like they know what's coming. Yeah, see this one in the 5-year, sorry, in the 10-year. Click. 02 half, 03 half. Really? Oh, that's way far away. That's way down there. Yeah, okay. So those longer term liquidity providing robots are kind of reacting to this, is what that is. So I upgraded a new version of Jigsaw, and I'm noticing that the profit and loss column is showing me in 3 digits, which is kind of funny. Okay. Good spot there in the queue on the bid. Good. HSBC's Kettner, I doubt the risk on stance for the first time this year. Joseph Wang, hedge funds have returned as a marginal buyer of cash treasuries through a resurgence of the cash futures basis trade. This may suggest that the real money community has tactically increased exposure to duration. If so, the pain trade is higher yields. And he has a link here. Does he have a new blog post? Okay, yeah, he does have a full blog post here. The hedge fund community appears to have returned as the marginal buyer of cash treasuries through a resurgence of the cash futures basis trade. The recent surge in treasury repo volumes and record short treasury futures positioning by hedge funds strongly suggest revival of the trade, which was popular prior to 2020. This would indicate steady demand for cash treasuries even as the Fed and commercial banks move from large net buyers to net sellers. While the cash futures basis trade itself is not directional, a widening basis may indicate that the real money investment community is seeking to increase duration exposure through futures. This post reviews the mechanics of the trade, walks through the evidence of its resurgence, and suggests it reflects positioning for lower inflation. Yeah, it's a decent... This market is definitely, at least in the treasury market, definitely not acting like a summer market, is it? Okay, the treasury cash futures basis trade aims to profit from dislocations between the pricing of treasuries futures and cash treasuries. At times, asset managers like pension funds have chosen to gain exposure to treasuries through the futures. That increased demand raises the price of treasury futures relative to cash treasuries such that it is possible to make a small profit by selling short a treasury future and hedging it with a cash treasury. The price of the treasury future and cash treasury eventually converge, so the investor makes a small profit. While the price dislocation is small, unconstrained investors like hedge funds can put on the trade with significant leverage from repo borrowing to magnify returns. Wow, that came back down awfully fast. The cash futures basis trade was very popular in 2019 and thought to account for the significant rise in hedge fund treasury exposure. According to confidential data, hedge funds increased their long cash treasury and short treasury futures by several $100 billion from 2018 to 2020. The same period also saw a steady rise in repo volumes. In effect, the hedge fund community was the marginal investor in cash treasuries prior to 2020. The trade became much less popular after the significant market dislocations in March of 2020. Repo volumes and commitment of traders' positioning suggest that the cash futures basis trade has returned in size. SOFR volumes, a measure of overnight treasury repo volumes, has soared to multi-year highs. SOFR largely reflects the financing activity of dealers who can then turn around and re-lend the funds to hedge funds in bilateral repo. Dealers can also borrow to finance their own inventory of securities, but public data indicates modest increases in holdings relative to the rise in financing volume. The CFTC's weekly COT data indicates that hedge funds have steadily built significant short positions in Treasury futures since last July, which was also when repo volumes began to climb. Together, this suggests a resurgence of the cash futures basis trade to levels that exceed their 2019 peak. That's not good. Also note that the rising short positions are mirrored by the long positions by the real money investors like pension funds who operate under more stringent investment constraints. Heightened official sector interest on the potential dangers of the cash futures basis trade also appear to confirm its resurgence. The turmoil in the March 2020 Treasury market was in part due to rapid deleveraging by cash futures basis traders. However, the trade is also an important provider of liquidity in the cash market. Increasing regulatory costs on the trade would likely structurally widen the basis, much like the persistence of the negative swap spreads and the widening FX swap basis since the implementation of Basel III. Okay, I haven't heard of that, but okay. Increasing duration exposure. The widening basis may indicate that the real money investment community is looking for directional exposure to duration. Treasury futures are capital efficient and very liquid, so they are ideal instruments for tactical allocations. However, it is impossible to say definitively without looking at an asset manager's entire portfolio. The increase in Treasury futures exposure could simply be a replacement for cash bonds or a reflection or reflect a change in an asset manager's liability structure. But the steady increase in positioning also coincides with persistent downside risk priced into short rate futures and widely perceived recessionary sentiment. If it is a tactical allocation, then that suggests that the pain trade for yields is higher. Note from Joseph. Thank you for following my work these years. I'm grateful for your readership. My goal has been to provide institutional level expertise to a broader audience. I hope you found it helpful and interesting. Please note that I have decided to make this into a subscription service in the near future. Well, Mr. Sorry, this is Joseph Yang, right? If it is a reasonable subscription, like $5 to $10, I will, and you post more often, I will absolutely subscribe. Absolutely subscribe. Okay, so we did get a pretty decent continuation of that short flow, especially in ZN and ZB. Not so much in ZF, but ZF, it was kind of like it happened there, and then the two others kind of dropped in sympathy to it. So, there might be, we might be kind of, you know, that's kind of some evidence that we're stuck here a little bit, right? That there's like this magnet 24, 23 half, and that they would need more aggressive volume to really push it further. For this one up here, if I get filled at 24 half again, that's pretty good. But for this position over here, I'm a little concerned. Perhaps they're a little bit more active today because they're positioning themselves post-roll. You're late. It's raining and I'm stealing Wi-Fi from an Well, we're glad to have you either way, Walter. There's that tick down again. That one looked more like the ZN got dragged, though. Because those bids aren't like... That bid at 22 half in particular, it hasn't really reacted to it yet. Another tick down in CB, and it would definitely have to go, though. Ugh. Why do I keep seeing all of these bizarre headlines that just seem to contradict all science and common sense? Plants cause global warming now? What? Plant respiration will exacerbate climate change. Plant release up to 30% more CO2 than previously thought. Plant respiration. Wait, what? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I'm just going to ignore that one. It seems like the people that are pushing that are crazy, but that's like the second one I've seen like that today. Well, they were pushing there, but it's still kind of holding back, I think. AI threatened jobs are mostly held by women, study shows. Oh boy. I can see it coming now. ChatGPT is sexist. It's coming. It's coming. That's going to be the new narrative. Well, the flows in the treasuries have kind of cooled. I must say, you know, this downtrend has been pretty persistent. It doesn't have the same kind of hallmarks as our typical, like, waves sort of meta order sort of trade goes. That downtick felt kind of strong. But anyways, so it's kind of been a persistent downtrend, but like sometimes we get a little bit of action just before or after the equity indexes open. So the way that they're lining up at the moment is a little curious to me, the timing of it and all. Don't know if they're going to have enough to push ZN to new lows or not. Back to 23. That 30-year is not backing off at all. I feel a little hazy, like I must not have gotten enough sleep yesterday. I feel like I could just close my eyes and get knocked right out. Well, there's an uptick. It looks like it's steepening because, again, the 30-year has not backed off much, if at all. Twitter and overall internet pretty quiet this morning. That seems kind of summer-like. Betting on yes going higher. Yeah, well, for a short-term trade at the very least, I think that if I was going to take a trade in, yes, it would be buy on the open, yeah? Buy on the open, expecting some sort of, like, pop extension higher, at least to begin with. It might stall out and turn back down the day later, but longer term, I'm concerned about the way the flows are going, because what I see happening is some money likely coming out of the market, but we'll see. Now, oil has just been... Oil just continues to be very volatile here, but I can't make sense of what it's doing on a day-to-day basis. There's all sorts of infighting about whether it's going to go up or down in the near term. OPEC and traders fighting with each other. What the fuck? Putin, there are threats from Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Headquarters of Ukraine's military intelligence was hit in drone attacks. It's not Russia who started the war. Yes, it was. Gosh. Ooh, look at that volume in the 22.5. Iceberg, but still quite a bit that's sold there. Yeah, I'm getting that fuzz like I want to fall asleep. I want to fall asleep. What's with that? It's weird. It's been a while since I've had like you know, I feel like I have to struggle to stay awake. But I've been doing a lot of woodworking, and I think that's been messing up my sleep. Well, not just my sleep schedule, but like the schedule in general. The offer side liquidity seems pretty healthy. You know, like we have enough to support it continuing to go lower. It's just there was an iceberg there, stopped it, right? No, woodworking is not a metaphor. It's been literally woodworking. So we've been working on the desk. We're almost done with the desk. Or actually on the desk part, it's been making the legs, so it's been working with metal. And basically we need to paint the legs and then it's done, I guess. But we've also been building a baby gate to go at the bottom of the stairs. And yeah, that's been a project. A lot of gluing wood together, because you took like slats like this and cut the edges out and then glued them together, so that you kind of got like a little line between each board. But then when you do that, the glue squeezes out and you get glue in the channel, and so you have to clean out the channel. It's very annoying. As I'm talking about it, I can definitely see how one would think that woodworking is a metaphor. Oh man. But we want to get that done before Sunday, because it's to prevent the baby from trying to climb up the stairs when I'm not paying attention. And my wife is doing a work trip next weekend, so we would like to have it. Okay, those 2 ticks up. That was awfully quick. Man, this Bitfinex guy, the tweeting never ends. I just can't imagine tweeting so much about a specific thing. I can barely get myself to tweet once a day. Oh, now we get iceberg offer, but they did appear to clear it. Pretty healthy bid at 24.2. My position in the queue after all that is not the best one, by the way. What the? Oh, that is not a real AOC account. They're retweeting that one. It's a parody. If cows would just stop farting, I wouldn't have to drink so much wine every night. Good grief. That was a pretty strong pushback there. So it's like they ran into the iceberg, they gave up on the trade. Should I say gave up on the trade? The flows reversed after that. I need to keep myself talking or I'm gonna fall asleep here, folks. It's not like the treasury market hasn't been doing stuff either. Does your volume profile include the evening session? I think for most of these it does not. Resets. So I don't really care too much about it. I just want to see the volume as it builds up, you know. When we originally were in this area, we saw it was like 8,000 had traded in there, and it was like, well, that was a decent amount. It might kind of sit here in a little bit, and look at how much is traded now. Right, so think about it. If you're trying to sell a large meta order, how much you've been able to sell in this area, right? Maybe if I stand up. Some of the magnets on these heads behind me keep coming off. Would you ever sit? Probably not. Why? I kind of never understood this one. Like you guys realize that Sierra Charts is really just a slightly more affordable version of Jigsaw, right? Like they basically stole all of the Jigsaw features and combined them into their product. I suppose I've got a couple of indicators that you guys on Sierra Charts would like to have that I could convert it. You know, like the thing is, the reason I have the Ninja Trader ones is because I built them for myself. It'd be a little bit of work to do it in Sierra Charts. I mean, I could do it. It's just like finding the time and motivation to do it is kind of hard. Mohammed L. Arian, because the Fed is so data dependent, even the Fed itself is all over the map. We have those who think we should pause. We have those who think we should skip. This is a problem when you lack a strategic underpinning. I just figured you'd save money instead of using two programs as all into one. Well, but a Ninja Trader doesn't cost me anything. Yeah. Now, Jigsaw's charts aren't the best, but it's getting there. Did they? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna clear this So I don't know if that iceberging at 22.5 was from the stuff from before. It shouldn't be, right? So that must mean there was another iceberg sell there. Or sorry, there was another iceberg sitting in the way of that strong sell. Okay, 5K sliced right through it, and 22, they traded through that almost immediately. Well, that that was quite surprising to see that much volume sell at 22.5 that quickly, man. That was like somebody wanted to sell and they were like, okay, the iceberg is really there, and they sold it all. Here's the E-mini. So we said buy, right? Let's say 42.35. See how far they get. Stay awake, Seth. I don't know, man. I mean, the initial move in the S&P 500 was what we were looking for, but it retraced awfully quickly. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's too early to call it yet, but I don't know. If I was taking a trade 42.35, well, how much risk would I allow myself to have? 5, 10 points? What? According to a New York Post report, footage has emerged of 3 off-duty Marines attacked over the Memorial Day weekend by a mob of close to 40 teenagers on a California beach. What is it with mobs of teenagers going around and doing degenerate things? You wanna know things that predict for poverty? Having mobs of teenagers in your area running around beating people is probably a pretty good predictor of poverty in that area. Might want to do something about that, guys. There's the 5-year goes a little bit further. Well, where in ZN do we get to overnight lows? 113.13 half. That's so far away. That is so far away. Well, that would be something else. Well, when I say it'd be something else, I don't think that it's so far away that I say that we can't get there, but it just seems like it's too far away for me to worry about at the moment. Oh, what? The altercation reportedly began when the Marines asked the teens to stop lighting fireworks. We told them we were Marines, so they would leave, but they didn't. They just kept going at it. One of the attacked servicemen, Hunter Antonio. So you survived. Well, that's good. As they start walking up some steps, some of the group behind yell for them to get the F out of here before one runs up from behind and sucker punches the trailing serviceman. After a brief hesitation, the Marine drops what's in his hand and charges at the attacker, knocking him down. Instantly, the mob swarms around him, throwing wild punches and screaming abuse. Get that effort. One repeatedly shouts. The attacked Marine and one of his pals are left crunched into the fetal position on the ground, their arms are covering their heads as the mob continues to kick, punch, and stamp them. Wow, what the hell? What the heck? Now I'm gonna have to watch this disturbing, distressing content on the other screen so that you guys can't see it. Oh jeez. Oh jeez, that is distressing content, guys. Yeah, okay, so when somebody is on the ground in the fetal position and you keep kicking them, that's like attempted murder. Like they're gonna throw the book at you. Yeah, those involved with this will get some nasty karma, I bet. I don't know if I've seen anything about this on Reddit. Let's see if I can type Marines attacks. That was a pretty good down move. They did there was a little bit of a pullback, but I kind of see the flow still looks sell. Okay, so one of the top stories I see about this is on Wall Street Silver. Why? This happened on the 25th of May. Oh, really? So the New York Post is getting it late. Well, it was last Thursday, so they held it over the weekend. Even if the Marines, I mean, it looks like that the Marines were somewhat involved. I mean, like, played a part. Like they were harassing the kids, and one of the kids sucker punched him. He went and decided to attack the kid back and everything, but still, it's a crazy story. This settles how many 8th graders can you take at once. The answer was no more than 2. Oh, guys. A little bit more nonchalant volume. I'm still seeing a lot of level 2 changes here on the inside, but the overall volume seems to have normalized a bit there. Wow, huge iceberg in ES at 4234. Strong downtick there. The few, the loud, the teens. Oh man, some of the jokes. This public freakout subreddit has some pretty messed up jokes in it. Ah, yes, another video that conveniently starts in the middle of the altercation. Reddit seems to be siding with the crowd, though. Not surprised. It doesn't not look like the Marines were innocent. Still, I wonder, well, maybe I'm focusing on this too much, but that just seems like a video that will get some attention. So the offer there was only like 100, and now the bid. I mean, they're willing to sell it there, but you know, the bid liquidity seems okay for now. They seem to be willing to take it on in this area. Yeah. Okay, so I just saw some interesting shifting there. So maybe the book is a little bit more dynamic at the moment than I thought, because that 20 half kind of pulled and the 21 stacked, but then it flipped back. No, I have not seen anything on the debt ceiling to suggest that Congress will be unable to pass the deal. I think the down pressure in the notes is probably coming from, like, you know, basis traders rolling over to the next contract. I think that's probably part of it. The buy side in the overnight was almost certainly the comments from the Bank of Japan, right? But the thing you got to remember, oh, the S&P 500 take a little bit of a gap down there. Anyways, like individual votes, that probably doesn't matter. There's more than enough votes in the House to get this passed. The one place where this could get held up is in the Rules Committee. I think was Mason Hunt on the people that were on the Rules Committee? I don't recall, but I think there's like 5 people and like 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and like the 3rd Republican, they weren't 100% sure what he was gonna do. Right, so it's kind of close, but every piece of information that I've received has still been that it's very likely to pass. So I don't think it's really something that we need to worry about at the moment. There's some curious stuff happening in the. There's some real money changing hands in the S&P 500, isn't there? Yeah, this is kind of moving around a little too quickly for my tastes. How long did we have to hold that for, by the way? 45 minutes? 51 minutes. I'm kind of getting a little bit concerned about the way these flows are moving. Should I take this one over here off too? Yeah, I think I will. I think it will. Okay. So 739 to 7375 essentially. I think that's reasonable. It does look like they're coming back to where that huge iceberg was. Quite quickly too, by the way. Yeah. Brandigan Barrett, don't tell the bulls, but the 2-year is back at 4.55% as Treasury is going to ramp up issuance. Yields are going to be forced higher. Shit's going to get real interesting for risk soon enough. Don't buy into this gap up narrative. It's a false sense of reality. Well, but there is more than one force going on in the Treasuries here for sure. And one of them does appear to be selling pressure. But on the force that Brannigan is talking about, you're probably going to see that more when we do the auctions, right? So I don't know if that's what's driving the flow at this exact moment. Yeah. McCarthy to reporters on Sunday when asked about GOP complaints on the bill. I'm not sure who you're talking to because we did a conference call within our conference and over 95% were overwhelmingly excited by what they see. Yeah, opposition appears to be quite a bit bigger than 5%. Jake Sherman, this is true, but most of the questioners were GOP leadership allies. There's 22.5 again. It seems like everyone's it really does, right? But so this is a really good example, in my opinion, of the markets are not informationally efficient principle, right? Because anybody that's watching the NASDAQ the past few days is going to say we're not headed for a recession. Or if we are headed for a recession, tech is the place to be to hide from it, right? Or Nvidia is the place to hide from it, right? Well, Markets are not informationally efficient, right? No. No. So just so what you're looking at here is mostly Jigsaw Day Trader. That's what I execute on for the depth of markets. I do use Ninja Trader. Right. Algo Box is just a bunch of Ninja Trader indicators, but I don't rely on the charts too much. And I'm looking at maybe switching over to just using the Jigsaw charts soon. Oh, dude, that, you know, I really don't like to talk about it, Vanguard, because he's harassed me a lot, and I don't like to give people like that any attention. So I would only say that I had a very bad experience with it. That there's a bunch of stuff on the Futures IO thread about it, and I would recommend you stay away from it. With that thought in mind, Jigsaw is not such a bad name. I think it turns out that Jigsaw Trading was maybe not the best name for search, but it works. You would prefer a name that when you type Jigsaw, like when you type Ninja Trader, of course, the thing that's going to come up is what you want. But for Jigsaw, you have to put Jigsaw Trading to, yeah. Anyways. Oh, you heard wrong, Vanguard. Facebook, why would you message me on Facebook? The best way to get a hold of me is through Discord. I really, guys, it's one of those things that, like, I would love to talk about it, because he's come and harassed our channel a lot in the past, and you know, it really sucks. But like, it's one of those things that's like, I could come in and I could make a video about it and talk about why what he's offering isn't very good, all of the issues surrounding it and stuff. There's plenty of people out there that are talking about that sort of stuff. And if I talked about it, or when we talk about it on stream, all it does is give it more attention. People are like, well, who's that? They go and they do some Google searches, things like that, you know? Doesn't, so it's not, you know, so it's better that we just let it die. Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, now I'm like super confused, Vanguard, but maybe we can talk later. Yeah. Well, you know, can I kind of try and shift this into a larger conversation, which is that it really bothers me the way that on social media and YouTube in particular promotes just like drama in general, right? So if you go onto Facebook and to a Facebook group and you intentionally start a fight in a Facebook group, that all of a sudden that thread becomes the most active thread in that group. You know, YouTube pushes one of the most effective, well, not, it's kind of changed recently, but one of the biggest parts of the algorithm is how many people click on your thumbnail. So people make the most clickbaity thumbnails, and so there's been a lot of like scummy stuff passed around on YouTube. And yeah, well, it's true in life, maybe to some extent, but the way that media and social media push it is really, yeah. What's your see? This is why I hate this stuff. This ICT is actually Adam. So after the next video, man. So I did not have time to record the volume profile video this weekend. I was just too burnt. I am hoping to do it next weekend, although it's going to be tough. But I did spend a good deal of time on the script on that one, and I'm really happy with the results on it. So I think that video is going to be super great. And after that video, I do want to make a video on quote smart money content or smart money concepts, because that is like a total disaster too. But so I'm going to make a video showing one of the strategies that we back tested on that and some interesting things about it. But there again, I'm going to be like really vague. So like I'm not going to talk about ICT. You know what I mean? Like it's because again, I don't want to give him attention. Now that one is like a really interesting situation though, because he has become like a real trend. Like it's enough that like the actual term ICT is like a trending topic on YouTube that like other creators make videos about now. Like you have YouTube channels making videos about another YouTube channel regularly. Like that's pretty crazy in the trading world, right? He shows you how that, but it doesn't actually do that though. So I can show you a back test. So the specific setup that I back tested was when you break a high or a low and then reverse and come back above the structure from before the break, and then you wait for it to pull back to a fair value gap, and then you take the trade. So that was the trade that I specifically back tested, and it doesn't work. And in fact, the results that I got kind of suggest that the popularity of the channel was actually driving the performance of the indicator, that it kind of did okay through the whole 2020. But then as soon as that channel became really popular, the strategy stopped working. Right? Because the real issue here is when you say like the actual algorithm, the problem with that is that it's not like, okay, we take it up and then we take it down this much and we take it up this much and that screws everybody up, sort of a thing. It doesn't work like that. The way that it works is they have algorithms that reacts to the market, right? So regardless of what the retail traders do, the algorithms can react to that. So that's why like pattern trading doesn't work. Oh, I bet, Lucas. like here's what happened was price action trading in around 2018 to 20, I mean, price action trading has been around for a long time, right? But around 2018, 2019, price action trading really became the dominant. Oh, was there news today and I'm not paying attention? CBA consumer confidence 102.3 versus an expected 99. Well, they did come back down there, but I don't know if the market's reacting too strongly to that. Yeah. So anyways, price action trading around 2018, 2019 kind of became the dominant narrative. And what ICT did is he came along and he took all of their concepts and renamed everything and called it smart money concepts, right? And then sometime in 2021, for some reason, his YouTube channel just totally took off. So, and so now, like the newest flood of retail traders are all kind of are all trading these smart money concepts, but it doesn't work. It all works unless you use it at the wrong time. Okay. Well, I tell you what, we were saying, yeah, I bet you that the S&P 500 is gonna try and make a buy, and then maybe later in the day it would flip. Well, it didn't. It sold off at the beginning. I'd say that's pretty ugly. It's pretty ugly. Pretty ugly downside. Just do the well. I showed you the back test, right? I don't really want to pull it up here at the moment just because the treasuries are still moving around quite a bit here. But yeah, the way that my back test really does suggest that like something is actively trading against him. Question. Go ahead. How much do you think ICT is making via YouTube monthly? Oh, I bet you that he's probably making at least 6K. I'm gonna bet. So just think, like here would be like an easy way to think of it. Depending on like how good the industry, how right now advertising has kind of pulled back, but with a 5,000 subscriber YouTube channel, you can make around $200 a month, right? So times that by like what? He has like 200,000 subscribers now. So times that by like 40, right? You could be making 5,000 to 8,000. And there's also this thing where like your like what the advertisers pay to advertise on your channel goes up. No way. Is it really 621 now? Whew. That's just so insane. It's just so insane. And because I really think that the whole thing is just a crock of crap. Okay, what does raising the debt ceiling mean? Does it have anything to do with the Fed issuing bonds? Why would the Fed buy their own? Okay, it does. So the thing that you're seeing here, that you might be seeing here today, and that a lot of people are talking about, is that the Treasury has kind of been like hamstrung because of this debt ceiling deal, right? Like they have to use, measures and stuff to like save the amount of money that cash that they have on hand and things like that, right? Once the debt ceiling deal is resolved, they'll be able to offer bonds to take on more debt again. So what you're likely to see once the debt ceiling deal is done is that the treasuries will, the treasury rather, will issue more treasuries. So you're probably going to see over the next 6 months a bit more supply come into the market. So yeah, the way that I see the money flows going through until like October is probably a decent amount of money is coming out of the markets. More issuance in the treasuries and quantitative tightening. Why does the Fed need to issue bonds and buy them? Well, so the Treasury is who issues the bonds, right? The Fed can come in and buy them. They're separate entities, right? But the Fed will only buy so much. When you trade futures, can a broker still screw you over? Can they manipulate orders from their end and take money from your account? Not legally. So your FCM can see, does know what everybody's positions are, and they kind of have to like manage their risk and things like that. Could they like screw one customer's position over to benefit another customer's position or their own position that they might have on? Yes, they could, but there are specific laws from the CFTC against that. I've signed up with Pepperstone Flows. So first of all, I've never heard of them. Second of all, how do you know that they manipulated orders? Or don't want to sign up with another broker like that again? Like, if that really happens, you should be filing a CFTC complaint, right? Oh, you're talking about trading Forex. Yeah, so that's different. Yes, so in Forex, they absolutely screw you over, right? Because like that's the whole game is you're trading against the Forex broker, right? And then they arbitrage it with the banks. Futures don't work like that because all of the transactions happen on the exchange. So yes, if you're concerned about that sort of a thing, then I think that futures is one of the best places to go because, you know, everything happens in the central limit order book, and I think it's the fairest game in that respect. Let's see here. Alligator, I find current dynamics hard to follow at the moment. Would be too easy to attribute the action to end of month flows. Maybe some are, but I would say debt is by far the main driver. Could unravel all recent action, hopefully orderly. Don't forget non-front share. Talking here in Discord with Alligator. Is it possible for them? So like I said, they can see your position. They could, they could choose to do something nefarious, but the rules that the CFTC have set in point is that you can't like come in and do something to advantage or disadvantage one customer for the benefit of another customer or for the benefit of the firm's own trades. And I would add that another thing you should understand, Adam, is that the way that brokers work in the futures space is different. So most of what people will call a broker in the futures space is really only an introducing broker, which means that they do the marketing and they do the technical support. So if you have a problem, you talk to them. But the people that are actually like do the broker work, which is like connecting you to the exchange and helping you manage your positions, happens through your data provider and in coordination with your FCM or your futures commissions merchant. Right. So if you were to sign up with, say, for instance, EdgeClear, right? So EdgeClear, if you have a problem, platform's not working or something like that, you call EdgeClear. But it's really Phillips Capital that you use as your FCM through EdgeClear that is the one that's able to, that sees all your positions and manages things and for instance, will kick you out of a trade if the margin in your account goes too low or something like that. Make sense? Everyone has the same thread. Yeah, so there's this whole thing with like in Forex, it's like they know where all of their they know where everybody's position is, and they can see that like, oh, okay, these guys they will have to stop out if we go through here, and so they change their bid and offer to that and screw you over, right? There's a reason why like the only real remaining Forex broker in the United States basically got banned, right? Hedge meaning to place a buy and sell order. Well, all of them will allow you to quote hedge, right? So like most futures brokers and merchants, you know, they have like day trade margins so that, you know, you can take a position in ES and it's only $500 or whatever the deal is, right? But for other things, for instance, if you're trading spreads in the treasuries between each other, or you're trading calendar spreads or whatever the deal is, there is something called span margins. And generally speaking, you know, the span margins still apply to you. So if you want to take a position like that and hold it for a month or whatever, then you can use the span margins to calculate how much margin you would need to have to place that trade. Okay, what does it mean to you as a futures trader if the yield curve gets, let's say, flattened? So for me in the treasuries, the reason that I care so much about what the yield curve is doing is because it affects the flows over here substantially. So we have a really good example of that right here. If you look at the oh gosh, I don't have my pen open. So if you look at the 5-year here on the right side, you can see that there was like a really strong buy through here. So like all of them were moving up, but look at how much more extreme the buying was in the 5-year, right? That's because the yield curve is steepening at the moment, right? So if it's steepening, they're going to buy the 5, going to sell the 30, and vice versa for flattening. If flattening is going to be, they're going to sell the 5, buy the 30, right? So if I think that we're going to move down, let's say, we say that we're going to move down, but that it's going to steepen, right? Then when I see like a big iceberg in the 5-year, normally a big iceberg would be something that would make me think, oh, maybe we're not going to move down, right? But if it's in the 5-year and the spread is steepening, then I should expect to see buying in the 5-year. And so I kind of have to discount that, and that iceberg is not going to be as significant to me. Makes sense, right? So I'm using what the spreads are to help me determine what the expected flows should be. Yeah, that was the delta chart. I mean, you'll if you looked at the charts on top of each other, you would see that the 5-year did move more aggressively than the ZN, but I was mostly talking about the change in cumulative delta, right? That there was like a 15,000K buy in the 5-year at one point that was quite aggressive. Let's hear it. Is there something else? I'm sorry we got into like a bunch of different conversations and stuff, but I'm glad that I took the profits on my trade, right? I'd be like way underwater right now if I had tried to hold on. And I think that we did a good job of identifying that, you know, even though there was some pretty aggressive selling, that there probably are some counterflows in today, and that it's totally possible for them to go back across the range. That is actually the amount that it's coming back here is kind of making you be like, wow. When we were in that trade, of course we made $10 on it, but it totally would have made sense to fade it, huh? Does someone here works in finance? So I have a couple of people that will come by that do work in finance or have worked in finance. I mean, I used to work in finance, but on the technology side. So, and it's been a while. It's been a while now. It was like 2016, right? It's so crazy to me that 2016 it was like 7 years ago now, because 2016 is still kind of like one of those anchor dates that I was comparing everything to. Well, and then it was 2020, and now even 2020 was like 3 years ago. So like, maybe someone who knows someone who knows someone. That's funny. I'm trying to widen my network because I'm a student. Oh, okay, Tariq. So here's what you need to do, Tariq, is you need to start a LinkedIn and start finding the people. And I would really strongly recommend that you go and find like researchers. So like, you know, you can go to archive.org and there's certain quantitative finance papers, for instance, right? And if there's a paper that you really like, look up who wrote it and then go and find them on LinkedIn and add them on LinkedIn. And then go and message those people and tell them what you're trying to do and ask them if they have any suggestions. And you'll be really surprised. You can really build a strong network on LinkedIn of people that are quant finance. It's kind of funny because the trading community just doesn't know what's, you know, is like completely ignorant to it. But most of the people on Wall Street, they're not allowed to interact on Twitter. They're not allowed to come on to YouTube or Discord or any of that stuff, right? So but they are allowed to post on LinkedIn. So that's why you go to LinkedIn. That's where you'll find those people. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're still in school, so how far along in school are you? Are you like into graduate school yet? And I'm trying to get to NYU, so I have but you know what, Tariq, you might not. So where in Europe do you live right now? Because some of the best stuff for this is actually in Europe. Like, if you can go to the university in Paris, okay, you're in Germany. I don't know what they've got in Germany. I tell you what, France has some awesome, like some of the best researchers in market microstructure are from France. You go to the University of Paris or whatever it is, and they have like a really strong graduate program there for that. So that's one of the best places to go over there. You know, going to NYU would be great too, but you might have a better chance of finding the good schools in Europe. Okay, let's see here. I don't know. Should I have participated in this? You know, there's a bunch of going on and stuff. Sometimes I get distracted, but you know, it's summer. Can't tell you how it is actually. That actually is a pretty crazy reversal. Yeah, the thing is, I want to study quant finance as a bachelor's, but most offer does it. Yeah, well, but you know why? Because a lot of that stuff really is graduate level difficulty. You know, like understanding the models about the market and stuff to do that. It's not easy stuff. You know, I'm learning it on my own with books. So this is the book you want to get, man. I tell you what. If I was going to teach a course, it would be based on this book, Trades, Quotes, and Prices, Financial Markets Under the Microscope, Jean-Philippe Bougeot and Julius Bonat, with Jonathan Danier and Martin Gold. These two guys are French. And I think that this guy, is at like Berkeley, and this guy is from the Santa Fe Institute. I can't remember. Anyways, you've read it. Oh, very good. Very good. You know, that's graduate level stuff, you know, and that's the sort of stuff that they teach you at those graduate programs. So really, it's like, if I was to go back and do it all again, I think that I would probably be a math major and then try and get, know about Mandelbrot. Oh yeah, of course. Who everybody's heard of Mandelbrot, right? Every trader has gone down the Mandelbrot, rabbit hole at least once, right? Do you have any idea Forex markets are having big swings at night? For example, Great British Pound USD last 2 weeks moving at night. Just curious. Okay, so in the Forex world, there are regular cycles that occur because of all sorts of weird dynamics. You know, some of it just has to do with like, so for instance, some currencies, you'll see them always do a big move on Friday because people like are rearranging their positions for the weekend, for instance, right? So you would have to do some real investigation into that specific currency and stuff, but there's a lot of dynamics like that you kind of have to, if you're going to trade Forex, you kind of take advantage of and so forth. Well, has slowed down again at 28.5. Do you think it's possible to get to Wall Street from a European unit or only by transfer through a firm? Well, so there are all sorts of big firms and so forth in Europe, right? So like all of the big banks, for instance, they have European units, for instance, right? Jean-Philippe Bouchot, he, like I said, he's in France and he runs capital fund management in France, right? So if there was a place to work right now, I would love to work for them. That would be one of the places I'd be targeting is capital fund management, because they're like the most successful CTA right now, right? So there's a lot of stuff in Europe. It's all in the big financial centers, right? So if you're in Europe, then you're going to want to be in like Paris or Frankfurt or London. Probably London. How are your studies in machine? I haven't spent a whole lot of time. I've spent so much of my weekend right now working on the desk and I got this other project for a gate that I haven't had much time to do much else. But we're getting close to where like all my projects are done, and then I hopefully should be able to relax the rest of the summer and study. Their presidents don't drink so. You know what, NASDAQ Technologies? I wish I wasn't so distracted today, because you're making some pretty freaking hilarious comments today, man. Quant's job is not trading. Well, yeah, it's not. Dude, like, Quant is just like so. I think one of the things that happened is when I went into the industry, I don't think that Quant was quite the same role that it is now. Like now it's one of those things that like you really prepare for, and like, you really have to target and work towards getting in, and not everybody does, but it's like a big achievement to get in. It seems like if I wanted to get into a Quant role, if there was one here in Salt Lake, I would absolutely try. But I think that I would have to like do a lot of study and like brushing up and things like that to get one of those jobs, It could be trade. I think that if I were to get in a role like that, that one of the advantages that I would be able to give them is the ability to sit in and monitor the systems and ensure that they're working correctly, and to be able to intervene when necessary. Yeah. One of the things, what was this, Luke? Zoro project can plug into any broker, has a deep learning module built in. Oh. Yeah, that's a new one I've never heard of before. This is not a trading platform. Ooh, it's a C++ platform, huh? Oh, it has R and Python. Serious optimizing. Oh. It has a built-in backtester and walk forward optimizer, so you have to do that part. And it's free. Let's read the documents. Get started. First steps with Zoro. Status account, broker account. Okay. So it looks like it supports multiple brokers. I see here FXCM IBMT4, but I'm not Rhythmic or CQG yet. Let's see if I can find in the documentation supported. Online manual for perhaps. Main topics. Lectures, variables, functions. Brokers and data feeds. Ally, Alpaca, Binance, Bitfinex, Coinbase, DTN, FXCM, IB, IG, Kraken, Onada. No, does not look like they're set up really for futures, unfortunately. I don't see CQG or Rhythmic on that list. We could probably add it for them. We don't have the right. Well, so if you're going to, trade your own account, but there could be some quants that do involve themselves in trading that have a Series 7 license and stuff, I guess. But yeah, it would probably work for futures. I don't know if. I mean, this looks like a pretty extensive library for sure. But I do wonder how much time it's actually saving you. I don't know. Analysis, they have a lot of stuff. I guess one of my issues is that like any kind of algorithm or stuff that's like already kind of prepackaged for you is kind of like questionable how much edge it can actually give you, But and a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing here is kind of more typical quant methods sort of things. There's a lot of your typical math functions. Analysis function and stuff like that. It's still a good find. Actually, I think I remember when that came out, but I don't think that when it came out that they had that kind of documentation. That's pretty crazy. You have to tweak things yourself, but what is already packaged is not the point. It's good for executing trades from and loading different neural networks. Well, yes. So if it allows me to load, the kind of neural network that I need, through C++, then that is valuable, isn't it? Oh, I have a bunch of message requests. Let me go through these. Hmm. $8.55. Still stuck at 28.5. I'm still really interested how that whole thing unwound so hard, right? This is a very, very interesting market. I should have been more concerned about the buyer than I was, right? This isn't the first time that this pattern has played out in recent weeks either, so. Okay, well, I think I should get going so that I can kind of sort out some of these other things that I was looking at that are distracting me. But it's all good. Active summer as treasuries sell in reverse. That's today's title. All right, guys, and I'll take a little bit more look at that and maybe message you later, Lucas. But anyways, I will catch you guys later. In the meantime, stay excellent, team.